Yeah.
Google is more maybe of a predictable platform. Like you put it in, you set it up, you kind of forget it for a little bit, right? It stays, it's very consistent. It's demand based. And so the most important thing is that you have a foundation with your sales process. And if you do, and most of my clients do, and if they don't, we work on that part before we even start scaling ads, then scaling ads becomes a lot more profitable automatically.
You mentioned like being specific, right? You can get really, really granular, especially if you have multiple products, because if someone buys this product, then you should know that, okay, the next product they should buy or need is this one, right? And that's maybe a different flow.
So one other thing that I advise you to do is that go and sign up for your competitors' email lists.
Yeah.
Study exactly what the sales process is.
Some brands, they don't really have like a repeat purchase product, or maybe they have like one main product at the moment. But what you should aim for in the future, what you should aim for in the future is to have. All right, guys, welcome to episode 3. Today we're going to be talking a little about customer acquisition, but also how customer retention is really, really important for your e-commerce business. So, I'm Jordan from Hayes, and we have
Brando from Brandlux Media.
Cool. So, I guess let's start with what we're seeing, this past week, in terms of our clients' trends. Just for context, guys, Brando and I, we both run very, very similar agencies. We work only with e-commerce brands. We do paid ads, creatives, a bunch of different stuff, paid acquisition, and also customer retention. So,
we're
what
a
are we
full
seeing?
stack. So we basically see the entire spectrum, not just ads, right? So we're in the trenches every single day.
Yeah. So what are you seeing, I guess, this week in terms of trends?
I would like to speak about it like at a general topic, kind of like a trend that I'm seeing. And this is like for my, people in my school community, also people that are doing, I mentioned school community because typically the people that are in the school community are like maybe beginners or, people that are starting out. But I've also seen this trend for clients that are already making $500,000 or the 7 figures or the 8 figures. And the trend is that they're literally looking at the ad account numbers, or the way, not the numbers, but the structure, and is it ABO, is it CBO, is it ACS? Like they're giving too much importance on these things. And the reality is that in the last, you can let me know if you agree, but in the last probably year or two, the procedure of scaling an ad account has become a lot more creative, and we're going after a creative era. And we have to go broad. And so why do we want to go broad in the first place? We're going broad because these AI platforms like Meta, they're literally data companies, are becoming really smart, right, about giving the data back to us. And so literally, whenever our clients speak about, Brando, what do you think you should do, ABO or CBO? Like, there's a very general and good structure. And by the way, like, strategies can vary from one ad account to another. We've noticed that sometimes the CBO works better. So I understand the purpose of the question, but it's very simple. You have one structure that is very scalable, repeatable, simple. You go broad and you focus on creative, because this is the foundation of growing. So, that's what I'm seeing.
I'd also say like offer, and maybe as you start to scale even further, like your conversion rate matters more and more and more, because that becomes a bottleneck in the process. But if you have an offer and a product that people want, a great product, then focus on the creative. Okay, so I guess like one thing I'm seeing this week as well, for clients in the US, we're seeing like an uptrend in Meta performance, mainly because I think, Mother's Day weekend at the time of recording this in the US, but also Memorial Day is coming up at the end of the month. So a lot of brands are running sales. It's a good time of year to, I guess, be running ads. But I guess, what are you seeing across the board with your clients? Anything you notice this week?
I'm noticing that costs are slightly increasing. But I mean, most of my clients were not running any sale, but we are scaling this client because they're very seasonal. The costs are higher, but look, We spoke about this in the first, in the last, I think the second podcast. If you have strong economics, meaning you have a strong average order value, a strong conversion rate, a strong offer, you can support any type of acquisition cost. Like it, $50, $60, whatever. Like even if there's a 10-20% fluctuation, which there will always be throughout the year, just because these platforms, they're not very predictable, right?
Yeah.
Google is more maybe of a predictable platform. Like you put it in, you set it up, you kind of forget it for a little bit, right? It stays, it's very consistent. It's demand based. But when it comes to interrupt based marketing, where we're literally interrupting people in the middle of their day, it's like, it's a lot more inconsistent. And so the most important thing is that you have a foundation with your sales process. And if you do, and most of my clients do, and if they don't, we work on that part before we even start scaling ads, then scaling ads becomes a lot more profitable automatically.
Yeah, I agree. I think like if you build that in, the fluctuations day to day, like that can really, emotion, like we know as business owners, like emotionally, you can really get dragged into that. So, the CPA goes up for one day, all of a sudden it can seem like, everything's falling apart.
Yeah.
When you need to be looking at things over like longer time horizons. But I think, today's video as well, what I wanted to address, what we wanted to cover is the importance of not just, running ads, but also what are you doing for email marketing, right? And it's not just retaining existing customers. We've also seen with clients that we're bringing, we're spending money on ads, we're bringing people into our funnel, and then those people are converting through email campaigns. Now, the way that we can see that is because, we're using TripleWell to attribute and track performance, and we don't just look at the ROAS, we look at the new customer ROAS. So it splits out your total ROAS from your new customer ROAS.
Yeah.
And we've seen trends that when we send a campaign, that new customer ROAS increases as well. So it means that we're not just reacquiring customers through those email campaigns, we're also acquiring new customers who are coming into the funnel. So email is like a very strategic tool that you can also use to help with your new customer acquisition. It's not just about how do we get existing customers to buy again, right?
Look, if you have a good funnel with email, like you can expect 20, 25, sometimes even 30% of extra revenue. So I'm not understanding why, like a lot of people, when I speak about email, they roll their eyes and they're like, oh yeah, email. It's either because they think it doesn't work anymore, which is completely not true. It's an inaccurate statement. It works very well. SMS works really well as well. Amazing open rates. You just have, it's maybe a little more sensitive, right?
Yeah.
But it works, number one. And number two, it's necessary. So I'll give you an example of how necessary and important it is. Whenever we look to onboard new clients, it's a criteria whenever we run ads. So if they don't have email set up, we don't run their ads. Like that's how important it is. Like, sure, if they're running ads and it's profitable, cool, but we're not going to scale because we're just literally leaving money on the table. So it doesn't actually make sense. So the first foundational step is to build a follow-up system. If you don't have a predictable, sustainable, structured follow-up system, it doesn't make sense to run ads at scale.
Yeah.
So
by follow-up system, can you go deeper into that?
Yeah, by follow-up system, I mean segmentation is key, right? The reason why a lot of e-commerce brands are not able to make email work as well as they should is because they're not able to segment and personalize the messaging. Because if you send email blast to everyone, you're gonna receive a not bounce rate, but like an unsubscribe rate that is higher. Deliverability is gonna go down, right? It's gonna be a snowball effect of problems, and so the segmentation is absolute key. Right. And so what we do is that's the first thing that we do when we audit an ad account. We look at the people that are being reached out to, what percentage are new, what percentage are old, the open rates, deliverability rates, all that stuff. It's absolutely fundamental. And then the thing that we do after that is that we look at the segmentation. So it's really fundamental to make sure that when you have a sale, you only reach out to XYZ people. Maybe you have a sale for existing customers that bought product Y, right? So you have to segment the entire process so that, everything is a lot more profitable.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I've audited a lot of email accounts, and like a lot of people are not aware of how important it is. And just, you mentioned deliverability there as well. I think before you even like think of sending emails, you need to make sure that they're hitting the inbox, right?
Yeah.
So a few different things for deliverability that we look at. Of course, I'm sure you guys know that in February of this year, 2024, Google, Yahoo, like they rolled out these stricter, I guess, parameters around like bulk email senders, so sending over 5,000 emails a day.
Yeah.
And they're basically saying, look, if you're spamming people, if your email content is not high quality, if people don't want to receive your emails, then they're going to punish you
if
more
you
now
have a
than
spam
ever.
rate of over 0.3%, I think is the number, which is extremely low, you're going to get flagged.
Yeah.
So it's very, very strict rules. So how do you go after that? Like, how do you solve these problems?
Yeah. So the foundations there are 3 main areas that you want to be like checked off on, right? So basically, if you look at your DNS, right? So where your domain is set up, you have your SPF, you have DKIM, and you have DMARC. Those are 3 different things. Now, what are these things, right? You've probably heard of them before, but what it boils down to is basically Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, like all these people that are receiving your emails, they use these 3 things to make sure that you're a trusted sender.
Yeah.
And it's also like authentication, right? That's part of what DMARC is.
So to keep it simple, trust and authentication for the
Exactly.
people that are not, too technical out there.
Yeah. And if you have these set up, it's a signal, right? It's like, okay, this email is coming in. This is actually what happens, right? You send an email, it's very quick, but Gmail, for example, they'll quickly analyze the email and it'll make a decision to send you to the inbox, to spam, or to promotions based on these factors, right? There's other factors involved, but this is really, really important to get dialed down. So one thing that you can do, all this information is online, how to set these up.
Yeah.
But we use something called easydmark.com. It's like a free tool where you can like scan your own domain and it will like give you scores and it will also tell you where you need to improve. So that's just like an easy way to just see where you're at.
And if you are not technical about these things, like for example, myself, like I've set it up, I know how to set it up, but I hate handling these things. Just hire somebody on Upwork and in 20 minutes, they're gonna, you don't have like 300 domains, right? You're not doing cold email for B2B. Yeah. You have, you probably have 2, 3, 4 domains. And it's a very quick setup. It's going to help a lot.
Yeah. So, that's one of the main things for deliverability. Of course, then you layer things on top of that, right? So you mentioned audience segmentation, sending the right things to the right people.
Yeah.
I guess the frequency of campaigns, right? You're sending too much. But let's talk about flows, right? Because you mentioned having like a system, and I think part of not leaving money on the table or leaving less money on the table is having those core, really important flows set up. How do you approach that? I guess, what would you recommend?
You're familiar with the Jordan Belfort, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you read the book of the straight line system.
Yeah.
So the straight line system is essentially the idea that the sales process is a straight line and people start here and the end of the sale is here, right? And so what people do is that they go outside of the sales process in between this line, right? And so this is the idea of the straight line system. What Jordan Belfort teaches is that we need to find strategies and frameworks to get people back into this line and to shorten the sales process as much as possible. The same thing applies for email marketing. So you should see the sales process as a line, straight line. People go on your website from an ad, they add to cart, they go through checkout, then there's upsell 1, upsell 2, and then they check out, right? Thank you page. This is the same exact process. Whether you're selling a product online, whether it's in person, right? Whether it's a service, it doesn't actually matter. It's the same principle. And so the idea of email marketing is to answer all of their objections, is to make sure that whenever they add to cart, and they pop away, they go outside of the straight line, you bring them back through strategic flows, through segmented flows. Segmentation, once again, equals personalization. And the higher the personalization, the higher the reply rate, the higher the click-through rate, the higher the deliverability, and the higher the results. So This is how I would structure it. And so we can divide flows into two different scenarios or categories, I would say. Pre-purchase and post-purchase. Pre-purchase is everything that happens before they pull up the credit card, right? And post-purchase is after they pull up the credit card, which also includes upsell 1, upsell 2, cross-sells, post-purchase, like after maybe, there's flows that retarget that person that didn't buy XYZ. So you can be very specific and analytical, but this is pretty much how we divide it.
Yeah, I think that's a great and very clear explanation with the straight line method. I think you mentioned like being specific, right? You can get really, really granular, especially if multiple products, because if someone buys this product, then you should know that, okay, the next product they should buy or need is this one, right? And that's maybe a different flow or different branching than the other one. So it can get quite complicated. I think the important thing is start with your abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, your welcome series, your browse abandonment.
A lot of people, sorry to interrupt you, but a lot of people don't actually do browse abandonment or they just have like a checkout.
Yeah.
They have like one flow.
Yeah.
There's add to cart, there's checkout, there's browse abandonment. There's also product page abandonment, something more specific if they leave that specific product. So there's as soon as they give the email, you can track whatever they do. So make sure that you have like 3 or 4 flows that are very specific. You just pull up.
While you're doing that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, even when you're thinking like post-purchase, we have like customer win back, right? So that's basically someone who they haven't purchased from you within a specific time frame. You're sending them an email with a specific offer to come back and purchase again. We also have like a sunset flow. So these are people who are unengaged and we're like giving them a last chance to come back, to open our emails. Because we only send to people who have opened or clicked an email within a specific time frame.
Yeah.
Right. So that's campaigns. Because ultimately the more unengaged they are, it's hurting our deliverability the more we send to them.
Yeah. We'll talk about welcome series, and like the reason why we're talking about this, guys, is because like you want 20 to 30% more. And if you don't have the 20 to 30% more, you probably can't even scale ads in the first place. So bear with us because this is really, really important. We can talk about welcome series in just a second, but to get back to what I was saying before, site abandonment, or basically people that visit the site but don't view the product. That's the one. There's 4 flows. This is one of the 4 that you need to set up. Absolutely. Browse abandonment basically views product but doesn't add to cart, right? Then abandoned cart, we already know that adds product to the cart and doesn't check out, and then abandoned checkout, right? Adds to checkout but doesn't purchase. So these are the 4 fundamental 1, 2, 3, 4 fundamental flows.
And on that as well, like a lot of people don't know, like they call their abandoned checkout the abandoned cart, but it's not. So what you have to do if you're using Klaviyo, for example, is you need to add like a snippet of code from Klaviyo onto your website so they can start to track added to cart metrics. So if that metric added to cart is not flowing into Klaviyo, you need to make sure it is by adding that snippet of code. Yeah.
Once again, if you don't want to get too technical with all these things, hire somebody for $30, $40, $50, whatever it's going to cost you. It's going to be worth the investment and your time.
Yeah, cool. So I guess one thing I wanted to mention as well about email is, especially if you have a subscription model in your business where you have a recurring model where you're sending product out every month and customers can pay, subscribe and save, whatever. Email should be a tool that you use to convert one-time customers into subscribers, right? So a lot of the times people are thinking about, okay, we have this customer, how do we get them to purchase from us again? We should be thinking about how do we get them to purchase a subscription from us so that we're acquiring a subscriber, right? And those people are like really warm because they've already purchased from you and they've already tried the product. So now how do you get them into a subscription? So with our clients, we have flows for this, but we also have campaigns and initiatives every month for this as well. So yeah, wanted to mention that if you have a subscription model, definitely use that as a strategy.
If you don't have a subscription model, start a subscription model, because we're talking about all these things. We're talking about retention marketing, right? email marketing, all these things are retention-based approaches. And one that is absolutely amazing and that works well and that is proven to increase LTV, it's literally proven 100% of the time, is subscription. So there's always ways to find, there's always a way to find a subscription model to your business. Find it, do research. Your competitors, probably some of them, the big ones, are probably doing it, right? So one other thing that I advise you to do is that go and sign up for your competitors' email lists.
Yeah.
Study exactly what the sales process is. Sometimes we funnel hack our clients' competitors by just buying the product ourselves. We spend hundreds of dollars just by just scrolling and buying and studying the entire sales process. And then we save links and we... Sorry, I'm losing my voice. You continue. I need a drink.
We can cut that out. We can leave it in.
No,
do whatever you want.
We're not gonna cut it out. It is what it is. But yeah, so you need that part. You need a funnel hack. You need to do your email marketing, and you need to do your subscriptions.
Yeah, let's talk about returning customer rate. It's a metric that you should be looking at. So, what have you seen benchmarks wise? What should people be aiming for? How do they even where do you even look to find this metric?
Yeah, so it's on Shopify. It's easy to spot, very easy. Every time I ask the question and they're not on Shopify, it becomes it's really problematic conversation, almost discouraging because they don't know their numbers. But on Shopify, hopefully you're on Shopify, you can see it. We like to aim for at least 20%. If you have 20%, you're doing fine, you're doing good. And we have some clients that have up to 45%, which is at scale, right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying with no ad spend, because if you for those of you that don't understand this, if you have an acquisition process and you're spending $100,000 a month, right, the repeat rate is going to go down significantly, right? So don't discourage yourself if that's what's happening, but that needs to be around 20% when you scale.
Mm-hmm. And it's very, very different depending on the industry, the type of product. And also some brands, they don't really have a repeat purchase product, or maybe they have one main product at the moment. And that's okay, right? But what you should aim for in the future, what you should aim for in the future is to have multiple products that you can use to upsell and get people to purchase back. If you're, regardless of whether your main product is a repeat purchase product or not, you should have, those options.
Look, we have a client that's selling home decor. They're doing good numbers, high seven figures, and they have a 27% rate.
That's really good.
Why? Because they have a lot of products. They have lighting. They have products for the kitchen, just general house, outside of the house. People just come back. They see them as the go-to brand for their home decor. Mm-hmm. And it's working. And plus, if you're setting up the email marketing infrastructure, it's way easier to set up when you have more than one product. If you have one product, do your flows, do whatever you can, but it's you're leaving a lot of money on the table, right?
Yeah. And I guess as well, whenever we see clients, they roll out more products. Every time you launch a product, there is a huge opportunity for you to have, create some hype, make it an event for your email list as well. So if you plan to launch a product, let's say 3 months from now, start planning out, how are you going to launch that to your email list, right? We like to have, a lot of hype build up, something new is coming, right? Yeah. Mark your calendars.
Are you saying just on the email side, or also just creating campaigns to gather subscribers to then?
I'm just talking about your existing list.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we have these, hype builders, and then we launch it, and then we see the launch day, you get this huge spike in revenue, and then we have follow-up emails that come after that, right? So, use those as opportunities as well. Don't just launch a product on your store and don't tell anyone about it. You should use it as an opportunity to really, create a spike in revenue.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing that I want to talk about when it comes to this is not only just about email, but specifically about email, because we're literally landing in other people's inboxes and it's important. We have a reputation, and a lot of people don't understand that people unsubscribe not because they're receiving a lot of emails, but because the quality of the emails actually sucks and is very spammy.
Yep.
And almost uncomfortable, right? So we work with some supplement businesses that sell one email a day, like every single day for 306. I'm losing my voice today. For 365 days, they send one email a day, and it's a value approach. You need to approach this with value. Like you need to put yourself in the position of the customer and ask yourself, why would I open this email? So what this customer does is that they're selling a product that solves like a gut issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of their emails are like 7 ways to XYZ your gut or whatever.
Yeah.
Best practices to, daily routines to, like it's literally every single email is a piece of value. And then guess what? At the end of the email, there's a very soft call to action. Oh, by the way, if you're interested about solving this problem, of course they are, then you always put a link to shop now or explore. Very soft. You don't want to do like the salesy ones. We want to lead with value. Same thing applies with like a sales page or whatever, a listicle, article, even ads sometimes. We want to do like a softer approach, but specifically for email, if you want to send more. The more emails you send, the more you make.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really important. You really have to think about, as consumers yourselves, right? And as, we are, is what's going to make someone want to open and read this email. And a lot of it is the value, like what value are you giving them? Now, with our brands, you've seen like a very good balance and mix it's like an 80-20. So, 80% of the time we're doing like value-driven emails, but we're also like educating them on the product. We're doing like some social proof, some UGC. We're linking them to like Instagram posts. We're linking them to like press articles. There's a ton of stuff you can do and get creative with. And then 20% of the time is when we have our sales, right? So it could be a specific email list sale, as you were saying, for existing customers. It could be one that we're running site-wide. But it just means that we're not constantly bombarding them with sales. We're giving them another reason to stick around, but also educate them through the purchase process.
But guess what? If you do the 80-20 rule, you will get a lot more sales when you run a sale after you provide value. This is also kind of like what Alex Hormozi style approach. Provide value as much as possible. And when you ask and you go for the ask, it's like a no-brainer for them. Okay, so that's kind of the approach that I would take and that we take with our clients. Yeah.
So, I guess, is there anything else you want to cover on like the email side? Maybe you want to touch on.
I think we're good there.
I think one thing, just to round off, retention related for sure, but we've also tried direct mail for our clients. So if you're in the US, I think they've also expanded to the UK now as well. But there's a company called Postpilot. I always mix up Postpilot and Postscript. Postscript is for SMS. Postpilot is direct mail. Mm-hmm. So you're sending physical mailers, like postcards to
how much do they cost?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but it's not that expensive. But what I'd always recommend you do is you do a small test, right? And you see what the ROI is like. So we've tested direct mail to get existing customers to come back and purchase from us again.
Yeah, we've also a warmer approach.
Yeah, but we've also tested it to convert one-time users into subscribers, and it's worked pretty well.
So do you think it would make sense to do it for cold?
You could try it. Like, why not? Like, the cool thing about direct mail is, like, first off, we did try it for cold one time. Didn't really work. People who had never heard of us. And it kind of makes sense because, it's hit and miss, right? You're sending to a relatively smaller audience than if you're running ads, let's say.
Yeah.
Right? And it was more expensive. So, I think you have to do that at scale. And you also have to see it as a touch point, very top of funnel, that getting people, into the funnel and educate them.
Yeah.
I'd recommend you try it first with people who already know you, right? So especially existing customers. Or the cool thing with Postpilot is you can link it to Klaviyo. So the same segments you have in Klaviyo for your audiences, you can use with Postpilot, right? So if you have like a very specific segment, you can connect it with Postpilot. It integrates seamlessly. And then now, you send it out. You design your postcards in their editor. And then, you just send them out. It's a pretty cool thing because, everything is digital nowadays.
Yeah.
So, I think especially as a, loyalty play and building relationships with your customers, you can get super creative with it. Letter from the founder on the back, special offer, it's cool when you receive that as a customer, right? You don't get that nowadays.
I agree. And these are all techniques to increase the experience and everything. But I always, speaking, just to end it off with email, we want to test like cold email and we were talking about it yesterday. Yeah. Cold email. I had a member from school reach out asking me if, we do that for our clients. We've actually spoken about it many times. I know how to set it up because I do cold email for my agency, to build a pipeline of potential customers. And you can buy lists like 100,000, 200,000, and it's a lot easier to do that in like the health, whatever, any niche. It's harder for B2B and more expensive, but for B2C, direct to consumer, you can find lists. Yep. You can buy them. You just have to make sure that it makes sense with the ROI and the investment, right? You have to make sure that the offer actually works. Then I would say test at least 100,000, like 50,000, like a pretty big list because it's a volume game. Yeah. Set up your domains. We can maybe also do a separate video about this because I think it's an interesting topic. But essentially what you have to do is that you can't send 100,000 emails from one domain. You need to set up at least 150 domains, 100 domains, depending on, the volume that you're going after. Typically for like one email, you should send maximum 30 emails a day, right? So if you have one domain, you can set up 3 email accounts. Each email account should send maximum 30 emails, assuming it's just like no links, just like text, right? Then you can add links in your follow-ups. But like this is how it works. You basically have to scale horizontally. And then the idea is that you send, 50,000, 100,000 emails or more every single month. Yeah. But you have to test your offer, right? It has to make sense. And I've seen people succeed in it. We just never tested it personally with our clients. Super, super interesting. But don't use your main domain. No. Use it for your website. You can use that for your warmer email marketing with Klaviyo. So let's explain what's a burner domain. A burner domain is basically if my domain is brandlexmedia.com, a burner domain is try brandlexmedia.com or get trial brandlexmedia.com or .info or .net, right? Other domains. You're setting up domains specifically for the reason of sending out cold emails, and you should warm those up. Yeah, we can really get deeper into this, but maybe a separate episode can be. Yeah, I read this case study of a brand that sold a subscription. It wasn't for. I'm not sure if it was for B2C. It might have been. I have to double check, but it was $97 a month, and they sent 300,000 emails in 1 month. They set out they set up a bunch of domains, and they actually got like a 5x ROI on their on their first month. Crazy, on a subscription. That's crazy. So that's absolutely nuts. Physical product? No, it was like maybe it was like a coaching. Okay. For the consumer, but it was a consumer product. Nice. So it was it was a digital product. So that's even better. Even better, even better. And so if your margins are good, and I mean anything you can make anything happen, honestly, with good marketing. Yeah. But that's a perfect example. I saw this case study. Thought I'd share. Yeah, super, super interesting. Okay, so we've covered email. We've covered kind of the retention marketing side. We've covered looking at returning customer rate. Anything else you want to cover on that side, or you want to switch gears? Let's switch. I think we spoke enough about email. Yeah. Guys, it's a boring topic, but it's the topic that will make you money and scale. Yeah. It's like everyone wants to talk about ads and performance marketing and all these crazy hacks, but the fundamentals, like email your customers, just email the customers. Yeah, exactly. One thing we didn't touch base on is pop-ups. Like what it's a question that I get a lot. Yeah. It's just not something that I'm being asked for a lot. But one important thing is not to get a pop-up in the first 5 seconds. Wait. Yeah. Because if they are sticking for 30 seconds, if you send a pop-up after 5 seconds, they could have stuck for 5 seconds, or they could have stayed for a minute. You're ruining their experience. If you send it after 30, or we're testing 30, 40, 50 seconds, you're only showing the pop-up to people that would be interested in buying in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So you're much more efficient, and you don't lose people, and there's a higher percentage of people that actually opt in. A good percentage is like 5%. If you can get 5% of your visitors to convert, that's a very solid number.
Yeah, depends on the offer as well, right? Like if you have a really strong offer in the pop-up, you're likely going to get a higher opt-in rate.
What offers are you running, just very quickly? What do you recommend?
Well, it depends. So some clients like 10% off.
That's the traditional standard,
yeah,
right?
like if you have an AOV of like up to $300, I would say, like there's no hard and fast rules, but 10% off, some brands 15, even 20% off. Some brands are like higher AOVs, a dollar amount.
Yeah.
Some brands we don't have like a percentage or a dollar off amount. It's more like you get this free product when you sign up.
Or free guide or free ebook.
Yeah.
Like
So
people will just information, like they want information. So
yeah. And one thing we're testing that has led to a higher opt-in rate is you basically create a pre-screen. So a lot of people, the pop-up will come up and it's like, enter your email to get this, right? But what we've tested and what's working pretty well at the moment is you have a pre-screen which just says like, hey, would you like 10% off? Yes or no, I'd rather pay full price. And then when people click yes, then they ask for the email. And it's a micro commitment, right? So now that they're already on the second screen, they're like, let me just enter my email, right?
Yeah.
Because they've already taken that. It's like getting those micro commitments, those like first yeses, and you're training the customer to say yes.
One other thing that works, that's a great idea actually. One other thing that works is that it's asking for how do you collect numbers? So because that's really a gold mine. Like there's really, really high open rates with text, right? Like 50, 60, 70%, crazy. And so one strategy is that the standard strategy is to ask for both at the same time. Mm-hmm. So email and SMS. But some people are just going to get turned off by it. It's like, I don't want to give like that. So one way to do is that have a two-step form, ask for the email, get the micro commitment, and then say, oh, by the way, if you give us your phone number, you're going to enter a free VIP list where we give out 50 products for free a month. Yeah. Right? Or something like that. Yeah. So you're creating a two-step form, micro commitments, and so it gives you a better chance. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, or you upgrade the offer itself, right? So maybe it's 10% for email, but if you sign up for SMS, it's 15%, right? So you can get really creative with it. And then one last thing, I know we keep saying we're going to end this off, but... Say it off. So we're testing a cool software that allows you to send voice notes using AI to the SMS inbox, right? So you receive like SMS as a text, right, from brands. You can use Klaviyo, Attentive, PostScript, but this new software is kind of like in the earlier stages, and we're one of the, like, I guess the beta testers or whatever. So basically, let's say it's me sending out, like I'm the brand owner, and I want to send out like voice notes to my customers at scale. So I record something for them, which gets them to they clone my voice using AI. Yeah. And it means that now I can like type anything and they will use AI to put it in my voice, right? So it's really cool because it comes into your SMS inbox as a voice note. And like you want to click play. you're gonna click play. And it even shows like your face as it comes in on the voice note. That's amazing. It's pretty cool. It's gonna work. It's early stages, and I'm not gonna drop the name yet because we're still testing it out. We're still seeing if it's good, but if it works, maybe I'll drop it. Same thing. Yeah. Same thing you can do is by personalizing the experience is using tools like HeyGen for like AI cloning. So you can film a video. It's a great tool. You can film a video, and I haven't seen other videos do it better than them, honestly. Film a video for in like 2 minutes, and then we'll clone literally your mouth, your voice, your face, everything. And you can just type what you want it to say, and then you can have like a system that basically switches the names of your prospects or your customers, right? Or maybe people that didn't buy yet, right? That would be amazing, right? To do it for literally every person.
We actually do that, but we use a different tool. I completely forgot about it until you mentioned HeyGen, but we use Maverick. So I think it's like try Maverick as Maverick AI.
It could maybe be better for ecom because it's high volume. HeyGen can be a little expensive. So.
Yeah, Maverick's great. We work with Maverick across a few different brands.
You know the cost?
I want to say it's only like $300 a month. Don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
Because it might be based on different. But like, what it does is it's not as, I guess, sophisticated as HeyGen, but you record a video, like you record it one time, but these are more for like your flows, right? So what we have for some of our clients in the abandonment flows, instead of them getting an email, they get an email with a link to a video. So they click the link, it takes them to a landing page with a video. The video is the same one that was recorded the first time, but they switch out the name, right?
Yeah,
and it's like front. Crazy good because
it's less expensive to do, right? That's why it's probably less expensive than HeyGen.
Yeah, but basically it's you abandon the cart and it says, hey Brando. Yeah, but like it doesn't sound robotic. It doesn't sound, because the video itself was recorded actually by them. The only thing that changes is the name. And they actually, when you sign up for it, they get you to like say 100 names, and then they use the AI to film it. And they also move your mouth, and you're not super like close to the camera where you can like see. Yeah. And it works super well. We use it for like abandons. We use it for, if you have a subscription product, failed card payments is a big one. Post-purchase, like thank you from the founder. Yeah, you can get really, really creative.
Yeah, what was the software? This is crazy. It works very well. There's this software that you can collect emails.
Oh, retention.com?
Collect emails of users without them.
Retention.com is one of them.
That's one, but there was the other one that I sent you.
I can't remember. But retention.com, like they achieve the same thing. It's like anonymous visitor emails, but you can email them from your Klaviyo account.
If you're smart with this, you can really get an ROI. Like I'm seeing like 10x, 20x ROI on this, like other people using it, and we're starting to implement it with our clients.
Yeah, we're using it as well for some brands. Yeah.
I think we covered the email part.
Yeah.
Even if we wanted to stop talking about email.
Tangents and tangents.
20 minutes ago.
Yeah. We have time for anything else?
I think we're good for this episode. Unless you want to touch base something related to email, top it off. Cherry on top of the cake.
No, I think pretty good. If you're thinking of like which email platform should I use, if you're on Shopify, use Klaviyo. I will say, and what I've seen, I haven't tested this myself, but there's other solutions out there. I think SendLane is another one, which is cheaper and has better customer support. That's just what I'm hearing. I haven't used it myself. We still use Klaviyo. There is another thing. Another tool that we're testing is basically this tool that improves your deliverability. They do multiple things, but one of the things they do is they identify bots and people on your email list that should be suppressed. So basically what suppressed means is that you can make an active profile inactive for now. Doesn't mean you're removing them from the list. You're just making them inactive
based
Klaviyo.
On behavior or?
Based on behavior, multiple data points. So let's say you have someone who's disengaged and it's like constantly being monitored. So every week we'll get a report from them and it says, okay, this week we suppressed this many profiles. And the bonus is that sometimes you can downgrade your Klaviyo bill. Because if you know Klaviyo, you know that they bill you based on the number of active profiles, the number of emails you're sending. And they don't downgrade you if you're not reaching that, right? So Klaviyo, they'll always upgrade you automatically, but they won't downgrade you automatically. Makes sense. But these guys will help you downgrade if needed. And you can save here and there. But their main value proposition is the deliverability that comes by suppressing these profiles. We actually got some clients that were hit by this thing called list bombing, where a bunch of bots sign up to your email list and then they start marking your emails as spam. it's like it can really damage your reputation.
Yeah.
As a, from an email
like
point
your
of view.
competitors maybe
No, but
do that.
Yeah, like there's tons of these bots. So it's good for that as well. You can think of it as like email insurance, right? So it's a cool tool. We're actually a partner with there, so I can name Orita, ORITA.ai. We're one of their partners, so we're using it for some of our brands. Check them out. A great team.
Cool. That was great value.
Thanks. All right, we good?
Yeah, we're good. I guess we both have school communities.
Yes.
Mine's for free. We have a paid and free, whatever. But join my free if you want. We basically just share a bunch of resources, a bunch of videos. Feel free to join. It's free.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, check out my school as well if you would like. Basically, these podcasts are great because we can talk about stuff. But in our school communities, I know we both do this. We share our screens so we can go deeper into like how do things actually look. We share templates, resources, like actionable physical things that you can plug and play and apply to your business.
And we can't do that on a podcast. We can't show you on a podcast.
Yeah. So check out Brando's channel as well, Brando Manetti. I'll link it below.
Absolutely. See you in the next one.
All right.
Peace.
Talk soon. Bye.